We're You can go whenever you like, man. Alright. Don't look at me with those dead eyes. I like turtles. What's up, everybody? John, you look sexy tonight.
Well, thank you.
What's going on, everyone? I'll just cut the music off. Very professional like. It won't even fade out. It just go click. What's up? Welcome to the Watchmen makeup show. Sorry for having to postpone this, but if you're here, we're glad you made it. Season 1, Episode 4. If you don't like my story, write your own. Tell you what, most people's stories are really boring and stupid, so that's why we do write our own and make them up. And maybe we'll be able to do some things and make up some stuff tonight and be right later in the future of this series. With me, I have a fantastic panel. This is the House of the Conqueror, and we got a lot of people in the house tonight. I am Johnny B. Crazy, and to my left first, we'll introduce Dornish Wench. What's up?
What's up to the realm, everybody? I hope you're staying safe in this squid weather that we're having. And watch for the clones.
The clones, whatever they are. I don't know. I get confused the more I think about it. There's so many things that just make me think this is some Alice in Wonderland shit going on with Adrian Veidt. But we'll get into that in a little bit. John St. Baptiste, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. This is an episode I'm excited to talk about. I feel like this is the first time it goes more back into the original Watchmen wheelhouse. And I think there are a lot of little drops in this episode that are going to come to fruition a bit later, so I'm definitely excited to talk about it.
A lot of little drops. Hopefully you didn't drop anything anywhere. That would be really rude, John, and I saw what you did in the mall. There, you left a little present in that potted plant. Could you not have just walked 10 feet to the bathroom? Fandom D, what's up, man? How you doing tonight? I hear that you can't show your face anymore. What happened with that?
Well, I couldn't show my face because I forgot my equipment because I thought that, hey, we streamed Tuesday, did we not? But then I was like, oh, wait, no, we're streaming Thursday. But hey, all Phantom D here talking about another mind-fucking related superhero show on Johnny B. Crazy's channel. I thought that the next superhero show we will cover would be less mind-fucking, but here we are.
No, yeah, we got babies in lobster traps. I've been arguing with everybody behind the scenes that it's not physically possible. We're gonna do a experiment this weekend and see if we can create some babies in water. And I don't know if it's illegal, but we're gonna try it. We'll put it on YouTube. Isn't that what people do nowadays? AK Alicia Kingston, what's going on?
How in the fuck is that my intro? Everybody else got hey, hello, say hi to the people. What kind of nonsense did you just have me working on?
I don't know what I did just then. I apologize.
Oh, what is good, YouTube family? It is us back again. Talk about some Watchmen, random fishing for babies, and I don't know, launching people in the sky and blue dildos and whatnots. Let's get it.
All right. First off, I just want to say this because I just thought about it. We've been arguing about this baby thing, and we're like, oh, maybe Lady True just puts the babies in the basket. Sorry for starting this straight off. But he throws the babies back like fish. They got to get somewhere, or they're just a bunch of floating babies in there. You guys think about that once we get around to it. I just had to drop that.
I kind of agree with that. It's like there's seeds planted in there, and I don't know if they're considered embryos or whatever, but they're hatching, and they probably have an expiration point if they're down there for too long and don't get used. But I don't think there's just a bunch of dead clones down there. I think they'll break down and then like respawn into other pieces later on. It's
God,
something
that's so
Lady
fucked
True
up.
would do.
It's like an
From
algae
what we know of
tank.
her character. Yeah, like what we know of her character,
Oh.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Hemlock Grove,
exactly.
that mush soup that they had to drink.
Oh.
Anybody remember that? Oh, that's what you just made me
No,
think
but that
of,
just made me
okay.
think of American Horror Story and all the damn stew is stew.
I haven't
Oh,
got to
damn it.
catch up with the new season yet. I've been watching 40
That was
million
previous
different
season
shows.
reference, though, man.
That was a previous season reference. Yes, it was.
I can't remember anymore. Stop, y'all stop yelling at me. Dark Mother, hello. Okay. Alright, let's start this off. We got a bunch of eggs being sold. An egg is cracked. An egg is born. Seemingly, let's think about this. An egg may have came to Earth. Now, I just want to throw this out to y'all. We see Lady True give up the baby. I'll say they already have the technology for this clone stuff. But Dornish has a different, more intriguing theory that I actually do like, but this ties in with Adrian Veidt. But really quick, I want to get to my point because, you know, it's all about me, isn't it? No, I'm just kidding. I think this just hit me with the egg, all the egg symbolism, this couple, the thing crashing to Earth. What if it's another creature? Squid? We have this looming squid apocalypse, honestly, and we see in the preview for next episode that Looking Glass is all consumed by this. It doesn't have to be a squid per se, but what if it is an egg? And I'll just throw that out to start with. And we're talking about the first scene with the couple that gets their land bought off of them by a baby by Lady True. And then something comes crashing to Earth. And this couple, supposedly infertile. Lots and lots and lots of egg symbolism. The more I talk about this, the more that is some kind of alien egg. Y'all go with it.
Let's not skirt past that $5 million either. That's
I think she lowballed them.
Yeah.
I really
I mean,
do.
even with the
I'd be
kid,
like,
even factoring in the kid.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm gonna need the 5 million. I'm gonna need the baby. I'm gonna need hella stocks. Because
And the fucking house. I'm not spending my $5 million on a new house. You giving me a house.
You're gonna move. Either you're gonna pick up my farm and move it, but $5 million is extremely low, which you're not gonna do. That was just my thought.
Go ahead. Well, what theory was Johnny talking about? I would like to hear, please.
Okay, so so I think they keep showing these eggs in a crate, and you know, I always think that when you see eggs and you see chickens sitting on eggs, you think of like incubators, and I think that lake is like a baby incubator or like a clone incubator per se. And when Adrian makes this new Crookshanks and this Phillips, the first thing he says to them is, you know, I am your master, but I am not your creator. So I think it's just kind of giving a nod to this is Lady True's creations. This is all her encampment that he's in. Now, who she imprisoned him with, or if he voluntarily went, like that's the big mystery. But I'm convinced that this world that he's stuck in is Lady True's doing, because every time he would speak to them, he was always talking about, like, when I first came here, I thought this was a paradise. And he just kept talking about how he was kind of seduced into this whole thing. So I think somebody played the smartest man in the world.
Dornish, I think you're right. And something just hit me. Crookshanks. Those two. Something's off with them, right? We have another dimension. We have the squid alien invasion. What's wrong with the squid? They die really fast. They can't be in air. These babies are born in water. So if they come from a water universe, these babies were perhaps created by this intelligent squid in the alternate dimension. Thus, you have those two crashing to Earth and making, like, multiplying somehow. This goes back into AK talking about the pieces of baby turning into other holy shit. We might have figured it out. But
I'm here for all of that tinfoil sci-fi. I appreciate the way your
Right?
brain is working right now.
If they form in water, like, that's where I'd give you the physical credence for this, where this would work out physically, where these babies have been made, engineered in water.
I mean, I kept thinking of the Matrix too.
And lungs, but the squids, they probably only have gills. So that air hits them, it's a wrap right away. I do like that what's his nuts is doing experiments on them and trying to, like, figure out what makes them tick or how their makeup is. I'm interested in seeing what he finds once he actually gets whatever answers he thinks he can get.
He was telling them with their blood, with their bones, with their mangled bodies, that he was going to figure out the way to get out of there because he's sick of being imprisoned. And that goes back to him hunting the buffalo, and maybe the game warden is one of Lady True's clones, making sure that he's not getting crazy up there. And he's starting to get cabin fever and he's trying to get out. That's why he's making these spacesuits, and he's gonna figure it out. One of those prototypes is gonna work, and he's gonna figure out how to get out of there.
You know what I just thought about? Lady True, I don't think she has just the ability to make clones, but she has the ability to fully form their whole, like, genetic traits, because none of those clones, as far as we've seen, have gotten past a certain level of learning. It's and from what we've seen of her character and how about that espionage life she has with all the trickery and stuff she's doing, that was probably engineered by design. Somehow, like Dornish said, this chick outthought the smartest man alive, and she made sure to give him diminished workers in every capacity. And that just makes her a whole lot more intriguing to me.
Probably the one that she's claiming to be her daughter. I forgot her name. I think it begins with is it Gina or something? No.
Beyond.
Beyond. There we go.
Beyond, yeah.
Because she seems more intellectual than the Phillips and Crookshanks one.
Definitely.
I like
and her
what we're
name
throwing down
reads.
here.
Her name reads in English as Beyond True.
And the Superman references.
So she's True 2.0, basically. She's already grooming her replacement, so she technically probably won't die. It's interesting.
No, she's not going to do it. And what happened to her in Vietnam, apparently, they burned her whole village. Which side, we can assume, the Vietnam War is completely different in this world than what we've had here. We won. We took over Vietnam. Nobody knows what atrocities happened. The comedian could have did this stuff to her. We don't know. You know what I mean?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Right?
That's a good thought. It all
comes back around.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how far we go with this, but I do think for sure Crookshanks. What's the other dude? What's the dude's name? I can't remember his name. Phillips. Why can I not remember Phillips? Anyways, maybe it's because they showed his D and I just try to forget it. But Crookshank and Phillips, I think they definitely. I agree with Dornish. She pegged that shit. I think they come down in an egg in that. And just going back to the Clark Kent reference or whatever the Clark reference is, the Superman shit. That shit. I don't know. That was really good. I think Lindelof did well. Even Steve said this was the best episode yet. And Steve has been doing nothing but complaining this whole time, so I like to see that. John, tell me something.
Real quick, can I ask a question, Johnny?
Maybe.
And not just for you, but for everyone. Do you guys think that the Crookshanks clones are maybe designed to be a tad bit smarter than the male clones? Because it seems like she has some type of understanding. Like when the last episode, when she was crying at the damn play that Adrian made them do. That seemed genuine.
I took it
Like
as
she was learning?
I saw as she was like possibly a Crookshanks has seen like multiple Phillips die to the point that she's finally now crying. Because he's like, this time he wants to see tears, and she gave tears this time. That's how I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he coaxed that out of her because you know how they're born together. He cooks them up together. She might have gone through that with him, and he murdered him in front of her. So he's like, I'm gonna get some feelings out of you.
Yeah, it could just be totally emotional. True enough. Just a random thought.
He's trying to teach them through atrocity.
The clone easy bake oven.
Which is something
there you go.
would so do.
That's right, JSC. The clone easy bake.
Are taking over. John, what were your thoughts on that scene? And also AK's question, of course. But you haven't gave your 2 cents yet.
I think that I'm sorry, I can't remember the names right now, but the female clone models are definitely far more intelligent than the male clone models. Or at least more capable of unique and individual thought and reaction. You want my tinfoil for the week?
Bring on the tinfoil.
Always, John. Don't ask us this. You know that's a rhetorical question.
Have you met us?
Bang bang tinfoil game.
Okay, so Dr. Manhattan prevented the Vietnam War by ending it. What if something involving his powers just created children? What if that's what Madame
Are
True
you saying if he jerks off, that he's just accidentally creating kids across the universe? Is that what you're saying? That Dr. Manhattan's masturbation
I'm not
rituals?
putting it anywhere near that dirty.
Sorry. I know. I just had to say that.
I'm just saying.
Did he just turn into Ego?
I'm saying by his very presence, like it because you have the term Dr. Manhattan, which goes back to the Manhattan Project, which involved nuclear weapons, and you have the radiation from that. And I'm wondering if just his presence created this almost like superhuman type. That's my tinfoil for the week.
Maybe, but I thought it was proven that he wasn't radioactive. That was just a myth.
That is true.
So
there's a lot of Manhattan sperm out there, though.
I mean the panspermia might be instead of panspermia.
All over the fucking place.
Throughout the universe, we have Manhattan spermia.
It was like blue cocky.
Oh God! All right,
I didn't need to hear that word at all.
It's not even a real word, so we're okay.
Sorry.
Steve, you're killing me.
It was a moment of inspiration.
AK, I think Crookshanks, they may be playing on more of the feminine wiles if you're looking at what I'm thinking about is some type of attempted alien invasion that Lady True is trying to, in my opinion, she's trying to use that to her advantage. Maybe
I wouldn't put it past her.
She may be the new Adrian, and we might get to see Adrian, which would be awesome if he becomes an actual hero. I think that would be a good little roundabout for his story, because he actually is kind of a sad and empathetic character right now. He's alone. with these weird Phillips. This new Phillips he made was cross-eyed. If nobody else noticed.
Was he?
Yeah, come back and look when they're talking to him and they can't speak yet. He's like just looking at him all cross-eyed. It's
Oh my
hilarious.
God,
Because
what?
he was
Um,
probably still cooking. That's why. Wait a few days or so.
And he was inspecting the babies, like maybe for deformities, this or that. So, and going back to our Matrix type deal with them sprouting babies in the lake. We'll see what's going on. I still kind of think this is in his head, but we'll talk about that in just a second. We'll we'll cut to the next scene for the most part. You got Angela just basically looking into her heritage. Sister Knight's cleaning up her business, and she gets another call, I believe, something about Will's, something more about his heritage that she's got to come in. She goes get her acorn, which there's got to be some symbolism there for the actual acorn besides it just sprouting into a tree. I think there may be something else there, but I haven't been able to look into that. Someone in the chat may know. Let's see. O.B. Williams was her father. That was. Let's see. No. Yeah, never mind. Anyways, she learns a little more. She finds out who he is in detail. Gets to put a face to the name and find out really what happened in his childhood. Then we hear the bang outside. I know I'm slipping up a little bit, but we have the pills at the end left, and Laura and Angela get on the buddy cop duo train. First off, what y'all think about her finding out about Will? I guess everything about him, getting a little more confirmation, and actually, getting a little breadcrumb trail now. And we'll start with John.
I'm sorry, what was the question again? I just got
There
back.
was no question. Sister Knight, aka Angela Abar, is cleaning up her business. I don't really know why. She doesn't do anything there. I know she pretends like she bakes stuff, but I've never seen that place open.
Getting rid of evidence.
I know. I'm just being an asshole. John.
Well, getting rid of evidence is usually a good idea. I liked. I thought it was really cool that even though it was tropey, of her like calling the police station and saying there was a break-in, and then doing the break-in herself. What I like about what the show has done so far, it's really good at being a mystery, and it's asking more questions than it's giving answers, which I like. And it's being produced as a proper mystery. If anybody here, I get into mystery novels quite a bit, and I like that so far the show's been written like a mystery novel. Like, I know that when you get to the end of the season, a lot of things are going to be answered, and you're going to be like, "Oh, how did I not get that?" That's one of the things that makes these speculations that we have so enjoyable. Is that you're like, you want to be smarter than the producers of the television show. Whether you are or not is questionable. I don't think I am.
Speak for yourself, John. And I'm glad that you are. No, I agree with that.
I do have to say something we didn't touch on. I love the title of this episode. I think it's great. I know it upsets some people, but I think it's great. If you don't like my story, write your own. Like, I really liked that. I like the cheekiness of it.
It also goes back to the fact that Lady True owns Nova Express, so the left wing news source, which was what Beyond was going to get at the newsstand a couple episodes ago. So if you don't like my own story, write your own. That kind of is a play on that. They also, I think Damon really wanted to piss off Steve.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And big up to Steve for hanging in here with us, like my buddy, my pal. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the original Steve, though. You replaced him. We all know it to be true. How else
He's a
would
clown.
Steve love the episode so much?
Russian bot.
Russian bot.
Let me say hey to everybody in the chat really quick while we're at it. And John, you know what? We didn't overlook the title, okay? We just started the show, so you brought it up at the exact right time, man.
I do what I can,
Tubbs 1971, Dornish Wench is up in here. Steve York, you know what? Go check it out if you're an aspiring meme lord. Go up into the Geek Folk one. Do whatever you gotta do. It's all good on there. Otila, Angel, what is good? How are you doing? Peter Griffin is up in the giggity, all in the biggity. Dark Mother, how are you doing? No signal, but hope you hear it. Sugars. Mackenzie L. Burns, a.k.a. Sasa. Vincent Garzon. We do not accept that type of behavior here in the chat. Okay. Okay. I don't know what the fuck's up with me tonight. Sorry, everyone. I feel kind of weird and crazy. Julianne89. Thank you for popping out. What's going on with you? How you doing? Did I say hey to Danny McKay? Okay. Finger gun all the way. Yeah. That's what's up, man. You did the bang bang. Pew, pew, pew. All right. Everybody's like, who the hell is this guy? Okay. Let's just talk about this a little bit here. I did like the, AK was just talking in the chat about, whether or not Lady True invented the holodeck, maybe it might have been a Manhattan invention, which some have been. They're starting to ease up on some of those patents now. Maybe she got a hold of that. Also, it could be something that Adrian had. So I was thinking about that as well. It's been said in the chat. We'll talk about it in just a second. It's really cool visuals with how Angela got to see her family tree. Maybe we'll get to actually do something like that one day. This world has advanced in technological terms way faster than we have. Maybe it's because they don't have cell phones and they're not looking at their cell phones all day. Who the hell knows? But this may just show Lady True's true power, in my opinion. How advanced this technology is. It's basically on par with anything Dr. Manhattan can create, in a sense. I guess that's a really big term, but can create without, using his magical abilities. I think she's gonna find out a little more about her mysterious birth. She may even be involved in this weird baby program that we have going on. And, her and Lori's destinies seem to be completely intertwined. Almost like you would say Rorschach and Night Owl's destinies were almost intertwined, or I don't know, something of that nature makes me feel like that's what's going on. But we find out who dropped the damn car all of a sudden. It was I guess a Lady True vehicle, right? What'd y'all think about that? That Dr. Manhattan didn't throw it like a football.
I thought it was going to be Dr. Manhattan, but it turned out to be Lady True. I think that's what Dornish said last week. It was like Lady True. I was like, damn it. But yeah, it was interesting. And also on the family tree thing, it's kind of like, sad that Will like comes into her life at this moment in time, because if it wasn't, he would have been like at least more welcoming, because we learned in this episode, like as a kid, her mother and father died. And hopefully we get more of that. And even that, I'm still thinking that she's possibly a test tube baby, because the way how he was like, and I think it was like the second episode, he was like, oh, did your parents ever told you about me? It's like, is it the typical, yeah, this was your your grandfather, or your grandfather actually gave us to you?
No, what if she is the female clone of him? I thought this a couple of episodes
ago. And that's another
ago.
thing, because even this episode, he was like, oh, he was actually a cop in New York. It's like, well, hold up. So
maybe he was called Brother Knight.
I'm thinking this is all solidifying that he could be hooded justice. And I know we've all been thinking it, that Will Reeves could have been the original hooded justice. And it makes sense because he was a cop in New York. And
They're going to give it to a white guy. Back then, anyway, they would give credit to a white guy anyway.
right, exactly. And why would he be the only hero not to reveal his identity? How bad would it be to have to go up against the McCarthy trials as a black man, and being suspected of being a communist, and a German sympathizer? I think they're giving us all this German imagery too, associating it with Will's family because of that as well. I think they're just dropping all these little breadcrumbs for us to say, like, hey, this guy was pretty much hooded justice. And if you read your PDpedia, you would know that
Just make
PD
it
is uncovering all the truths. PD's my
Well,
man, sorry.
we got a couple of black communists on the panel. Let's see. No, I'm just fucking kidding. My God, no, that would be the worst damn thing that would happen. That could happen, and I would see even that body being used of the strong man. That's the perfect cover up right there, right?
Exactly.
Holy
So,
crap, man.
yeah. But yeah, in case you guys didn't know, my son has joined the chat to give his little historical wisdom, some of his
Nice.
PDpedia insight when it comes in handy. So, yeah.
Well, as a communist, no. Everybody, as a communist, I know the Red Scare personally. No, let's introduce the man, the myth, the legend. What's going on? How's it going, bud?
It is fantastic right now. Enjoying myself. You know, it's a nice day today.
Yeah, I'm just talking nonsense. Maybe you can bring some kind of logic here. You think Superman was born in this episode?
Well, that was my biggest question out of this episode was the whole comet situation, like that whole big crash and Lady True being like, this is mine. Now, when me and Mom were talking about it, Mom came up with the idea that perhaps it's the clones that have been like the Crookshanks and the Phillips that he keeps launching. Although that would be interesting to see. You know, he's just kind of launching them in the field, trying to hit the Millennium Clock for some reason.
That would be hilarious. Okay, that would be super hilarious. But then that goes back to where in the hell is Adrian? If he's on the moon, who's got him trapped in this hellhole? And AK, BBM, jump in anytime. Also, John, you too. I feel like I've been
That's the one
talking
I
too
jumped
much.
in like a few seconds ago. Were you like deafened
Oh
this
yeah,
whole time?
the communist, all the communists on the panel. Is everybody on the panel a communist? Let's just get this straight, okay? I'm just kidding. That's what they call all Democrats now on Watchmen anyway. So I guess I am a communist.
Now, my only issue with him maybe being hooded justice is you could clearly see that guy's skin under the mask, and he did not look like a dark-skinned man.
But that was the movie, the American Hero Story, which is also it's called AHS, and it gets me confused.
Mm-hmm.
In that flashback scene that they showed with him getting that gang at the corner store.
Yeah, that was the movie.
That was the show.
That was from the show. Okay.
Yeah, which Special Agent Dale Petey is not having it.
Okay.
He's not having it. He's like, this is false. Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. And there are a lot of fallacies that he uncovers in that show.
I did also think that Pops did not need that wheelchair at all, and I was happy to see I was proven right.
I just wanted to see him do a pull-up or a push-up or something. Maybe a cartwheel. I'm just kidding. No, that was...
He could probably do it
awesome
one-handed.
scene. I ain't gonna
He's
lie.
juiced up somehow.
Those pills, that's some of that
I think he's a communist now. I think that's what Arnold's up to. He's a communist now.
By the way, you guys probably can't hear me, can you? I'm hitting the buttons over here. Sorry.
What do you mean?
Go
We heard
ahead,
you this
Terrence.
whole time.
I hear you.
Y'all can hear me, but I got a different fucking thing over here. I'm being stupid. It's because I feel fantastic tonight. Anyways, let's get back to the car, I guess. And we'll talk a little bit about, really quick, we have this family breakfast where she finds out. We'll talk about Lori and Angela in just a second, but when she gets back home, she finds out that her husband talked to Lori. He didn't tell her. And then you also have this family breakfast where they're clearly atheists. He's telling his kids, when you die, there's just nothing. And before you, there's just nothing. And I don't know. That's an interesting philosophical question, because you want your kids to feel safe, and I don't know if that's going to give them more nightmares or not. That's the only thing that makes me think about that when you give that type of conversation. I guess we can get into that. How do you feel about them being super atheists? Let's not get controversial at
It
all.
seems like Angela didn't want to announce that at that age. It just came out of nowhere. She was like, "What? Nothing." It's like, she was like, "Okay, if we're gonna live this atheist, lifestyle, whatever." It's like, wait until they're a little bit older, I guess, because they were still thinking that heaven exists, and that's where Jed was. It's like, at what age do you say, "Yeah, we're atheists. There's no heaven. There's nothing after death."
Yeah, your life means nothing, little one. Just do whatever you can. YOLO, son. YOLO. Chrissy of Old Stones, welcome to the chat. And who we got here? Dee Lee, what's good, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay.
You're
I
not
see
a
you, Dornish.
unique and wonderful snowflake. You're the same decaying matter as everything else.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's not a pep talk I want from my dad after, a friend of the family
Look.
dies.
Don't go to him if don't go to him if you're depressed, okay? I'll just say that much, all right? I was going to get really dark and morbid with my jokes, but I've been being awful tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
I actually got a lot of Dr. Manhattan vibes from when he's,
Exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, the whole, you're made of the same amount of particles and all that. Even going back to Lori's joke when she's saying, all these lives don't really matter. It's the same amount of matter in the end and all that. So that's what I got from that. I was very thrown off from that.
And that leads into the random tinfoil that I heard.
You think he's Lube Man?
No, he's not Lube Man, but I do think it's possible that he could be a Dr. Manhattan clone. Because the way he always speaks with that random calm demeanor that Dr. Manhattan has. And from the explanation he gave the kids, that sounded like Dr. Manhattan would have thoughts like that. He's just clear cut, straight to the point, no beating around the bush. This is what it is.
That's some good tinfoil, because she is always commenting on how hot he is. She does seem to be infatuated with him.
Right. Yeah, there's something about him drew her in, but we just don't know what it is yet.
This goes back to the parallels with Lori, and y'all just made me think of something. This is just going to keep proving Dornish right, and it really pisses me off, but whatever. But what if Dr. Manhattan is making these babies to replace a humanity that he actually loathes? But he's holding on to a piece of it. He sent out feelers, in a sense, to see. Maybe he has a God complex now. Maybe he's not a good guy anymore. And
maybe he's bored.
He could have fell in love.
It could get boring.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's inconsequential. If he kills all of humanity, it's inconsequential to him, honestly, in the big scheme of things, the way he looks at life. So there has to be the X factor with him is love. So maybe Angela's that. Who knows? I like it, AK. They keep saying he can't look like us. He can't look like us. Well, that means he probably can look like us.
He probably can. Yep.
Terrence.
They just haven't seen him do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say on that. I mean, we see what happens when geniuses get bored. Like Adrian, he just goes off, killing all these Crookshanks and Phillips and like doing a bunch of awful things in his spare time that are purely recreational. So I mean, there is a possibility that John and all his mightiness decides, let me make a new humanity that fits the way I feel it should be.
Yeah, these automatons. Okay, so everybody's asking, who's the new person on the panel? Who's the new person on the panel? It's Dornish Wench's brother, Terrence. No, it's not.
I don't think they would appreciate being classified with Lannisters.
Ron
Yeah,
Stab.
Hold up.
Stark
What's wrong with being a Lannister now? Hold
Oh,
on.
here we go
Disrespect.
again.
Nothing wrong with being a Lannister, first of all.
Says the person who supports Slytherin, but it's okay. It's all fine.
Anyway,
If anybody out there has a problem with Slytherins, I just want to say you're all a bunch of haters.
that's right.
We're
Right, JSB.
we're smart Gryffindors.
There you go.
Hold up.
Shut
Okay,
your
okay,
unhold mouth,
okay.
you bastard.
Fighting words, I think.
Blasphemy.
Them's
10
fighting
points from
words.
Slytherin.
I'm a Hufflepuff, by the way, but I do have Slytherin tendencies. So we went way left.
All right. So here's
Oh, I did have a point to bring up about Manhattan.
no. Go ahead.
Okay. So be mad. But in the show they keep referring to Manhattan as like walking across the sun. They associate him so much with the sun. And so since we're talking so much about what he might be up to in terms of making a new humanity or coming up with some kind of reset button, when they went to see Lady True and Beyond was talking about that doomsday clock that they're building,
In the
they asked her,
biodome too.
yes,
So I'm gonna bring it
which
up.
reminds me of Karnak, which was Adrian's Antarctica getaway. But she was explaining that it's not meant to be like a seventh wonder because that's from the ancient world. It's supposed to be the first wonder of the new world. And she brought up the Colossus of Rhodes and she brought up the Library of Alexandria, which both have to do with the sun god. So this may be hinting at an event that has something to do with Dr. Manhattan, because the Colossus of Rhodes is a gigantic 33-meter or 108-foot statue of the god Helios, and it was destroyed by an earthquake. So she said this structure isn't near any fault lines. It can't be destroyed by an earthquake. Then she brought up the Library of Alexandria, and its location burned down as a casualty of war. So it came about from religious zealots and people, once Christianity hit, they wanted to do away with everything that had to do with the old Egyptian gods. One of them was Serapis, which is the deity of the sun. So again, another sun reference. And
The
every
first
time they're
burning of
referencing,
Alexandria was an accident.
yes, it was. But then the
with
second
Caesar.
one was
Somebody was
the-
trying to dispel a fart with a match, and it just got out of hand.
then the second one became religious
Yeah,
persecution.
yeah. The second burning was entirely religiously driven, but the first
Yeah.
time the library burned, it was like Caesar said, it was the thing he regretted most in his life.
Yes.
But was the library
I
burn?
figured it'd be getting stabbed, but damn.
Well,
So-
that was like at the end.
No, Brutus. Anyway.
One of the things that I find interesting, I follow the Watchmen show on Instagram, and they had a picture of Beyond, and the caption was it's the first wonder of the new world. So I'm wondering if perhaps the fact that she might be a clone or something like that may actually, that she is actually the new first wonder of the new world, that she may perhaps be that, and that this doomsday clock and all this other stuff really takes away from what else is going on. That, I mean, she's practically made life. You know, Lady True has made life here. She's done incredible things. I know, like, she trapped Adrian Veidt, and that's gonna take a lot because, I mean, the man's a genius. So, you know.
I say Lindelof's racist for all of the Asian stereotypes he pulls off on this show. Okay. Oh my gosh, she is the smartest person in the world, honestly, though, and I wouldn't doubt Terrence if she literally is his perfection. Maybe that could be something, and it keeps going back to, I think that the more I think about it, that's got to be Adrian sending one of those bodies from the moon, like Dornish said earlier, flying through the background. Because what time period do y'all think she bought that farm? Do you think that's where the doomsday clock is, or do you think that's closer to now and paralleling what we're seeing from Adrian when he actually shot the catapult up there? Phantom.
For me, I think it's the Doomsday Clock, and that's where she started up. I don't think it's the bodies.
Yeah.
I agree, FDS. I think it's the doomsday clock. TikTok.
Tick tock.
Yeah.
Tick-tock.
Yeah, I think that's why we got the closing scene that we did with Pops. Because now it seems like it's a mimic of what is it, the group that wears the Rorschach mask? They do the TikTok chant also.
The 7th Cavalry?
Yes, them. Thank you. I wonder if it's just more spiderwebs. We don't know.
We're not ignoring the lobster fishing for babies, Steve York. Actually, we talked about a good bit of that in the beginning of it. You know, I did call Lindelof a racist just a minute ago, so that'll probably get me in trouble.
Dear
I was just kidding, though.
Dear God, those scenes with the lobster fishing for children, those were
Look,
awful.
Is that reality, man? Can you put that in a realistic world? Like, okay, so if we look at Watchmen, the original graphic novel, is there anything that crazy besides an interdimensional squid? How can babies get caught in a lobster trap underwater? Did Lady
maybe they're down there crawling around. You don't know their life.
Oh my God! I'm not saying that. I'm asking
incubator.
a question.
It's an incubator. You guys remember the Matrix? They would keep them babies in that liquid thing until it was time to plug them in. It's like the same thing. This whole episode reminded me of the Matrix, including with the pills at the end. You know, like
pills look very suspicious. Like multivitamins that I take every day.
Chrissy said that's how she was born. In one of those lobster traps at the bottom of a lake. Chrissy,
you know, I was wrong about being a test tube baby. They're lobster trap babies.
Man, I don't know what's happening anymore, but those poor babies. I know all that centrifugal force. Tim Eve, what's up? Not to be confused with Tim F. Tim Eve's a lot cooler than Tim F. What's good, buddy?
Wait, Tracy, you're in New York. Does that mean you were like raised in the Hudson River? Because that's
hold up,
dude. No one wants to be raised in Hudson River.
Oh, nay.
Damn! Out of all the fucked up things I've said, that's the most down.
Stork handed me off to my parents. They did not fish me out of the damn Hudson River.
Well, an interesting thing is that I had this book, and it was basically like how to create the universe. And one of the things in it was like how you make a human being. And they described why making a human being would be so complicated. Because when you make a human being, you give it too much water and it drowns. You don't give it enough water and it becomes dry and it can't sustain itself. So it thins out instantly. And that's a horrifying sight. So the fact that they're even in the water is kind of interesting. And then you think of all the animals that have to be born in water like that. that kind
You know
of.
they gotta have some natural predators, like
Yeah.
some tiny little deer fetuses down there somewhere.
Deer
Like a
fetuses.
wolf fetus. Yeah, it's like a natural kingdom. I could see all these little baby fetuses around a little underwater campfire telling stories and shit. Like we have the first baby fetus cave paintings. There's gonna be some really cool stuff going on around here. I have to say, no, it's that tripped me out, man. I thought somebody had slipped me some LSD or something into my
Dude, that
drink.
whole sequence, I was sitting there looking like, what the hell is Adrian doing with these babies? And why the fuck are there babies in the water? And then he put them in the machine. And I'm like, wait, well, what's happening here? And you hear him like almost cry, screaming as the thing's spinning around off camera. And I think I was speechless for a good 5 minutes, wondering what the hell was actually happening
I have an
until they
explanation
panned
for the
back and they
screams.
grew.
I have
Hey,
an explanation for the screams.
go for it, Terrence.
Go for it.
Well, if you think about it, growing up is painful because you get growing pains and all of that. Your bones have to elongate, but we're doing all of that slowly. This is all happening instantly for them. They're instantly expanding, and the legs are growing and all of that. And while they may not be able to develop mentally as fast, which is why I think some of the Phillipses were a little slower and things like that, why they're incapable of doubt and things like that, because they haven't been able to mentally grow to that point. But they're physically grown. Like they're grown so fast that it actually does hurt. I would imagine, my bones being elongated instantly would probably hurt really, really, really bad. So
And
That
that
is a
whole
very good thought.
time, Adrian is listening to music and eating cake. Like he's just freaking used to all this screaming and torturing babies. Like, God damn it.
I mean,
Adrian
is
has
it
the
a,
bops though.
like, is it a real baby? Is the question too, and how crazy. Okay, and if it's a real baby, if he's in a real physical place, if he ever gets out of there, how much of a serial killer is this man? I know he was already a little crazy to begin with. He had these weird visions of the world, but now it seems like he's basically been in solitary confinement for a while. Because he doesn't seem to get any solace, any comfort from these beings. I don't think they can relate to him emotionally, going back to what happened with the Dr. Manhattan play. And yeah, it just seems to me like if he does get out, it's going to be so chaotic that I don't know if it'll go to plan, or I don't know. How crazy is Adrian Veidt at this moment? I guess that's where I'm getting at.
He's
Okay.
I'm
very
just
crazy.
waiting for the episode where we see him arrive at this paradise and then slowly but surely becomes his prison for him, that he has to escape.
I think we're gonna start seeing Prison Break starring Adrian Veidt.
And it reminds me a lot of the island of Calypso, where heroes go and they get stuck there, and they essentially end up in paradise with this beautiful woman, but it'll become a prison very soon for them if they don't get out of there fast enough. So, yeah, that's what I get from that, and I would expect Adrian to go very crazy from that, probably becoming, a Republic serial villain, as he calls himself. But yeah, going crazy because all he has is himself, the Phillips and Crookshanks, and the most honorable game warden shooting at him constantly. So for 4 years, that would probably drive you up the wall.
I two things. The one thing it immediately made me think of, and I'm not sure how many people out there are old enough to remember it or have seen it. The episode of the Twilight Zone. It's one of the ones that was actually written by Rod Serling about the man who just wants quiet so he can read, and the entire world, everybody but him, dies. And then he accidentally sits on his glasses.
That is hysterical.
It made me think of that quite a bit. Also, I really like the point that Dee Lee makes here. Yeah, he's kind of in purgatory. Like his life, his existence.
It's a
Is
hollow celebration every day, right?
yeah, is kind of in purgatory. You know, if anybody out there's a Neil Gaiman fan, in Endless Nights, there's a story about this guy who basically sells his soul so that he has this island and it's always the same day over and over again. And it just gets to the point where he's absolutely bored. He has nothing else to do. Like, he has elephants crush virgins, uh, just because it's like, oh, hey, they're, you know, at least it's not what I did yesterday. And the other big thing that I want to pull out about Ozymandias here is I like that they, with him and Lady True, they really diverge between this whole steampunk concept and this whole like postmodern concept of technology. Like, she's Elon Musk. He's like selling horse buggy whips. And I think there's something that I think that's going to feed into something.
I think it also feeds into possibly Dr. Manhattan's mindset. With his superpowers, with his understanding of the world, we still have no idea of his actual mental stability and how his personality will work or transform in isolation. But it goes back to he can make his own company as well. This all ties back into whether he made the clones or not in the beginning in the first place or what the hell ever. Uh, Really quick, Phantom D Saint, I know you've probably got to head out in just a few. Anything in particular you want to talk about this episode really quick, man? You throw it out
Yo, can I
there
talk
to
about Luke
everybody and
for a second?
I'll be right back.
Like,
Go ahead.
of all characters to be introduced in the show, I did not expect Luke Man when Angela's like getting rid of the evidence. Like, I'm saying that that's Petey, and he's trying to live out his mass vigilante fantasies now. So that's how we got freaking Luke Man. I'm calling
Agreed.
it now.
Dude, that's a good.
My husband thought it was Petey too. My husband was like, that looks like Dale Petey.
Yeah, it probably is now that I think about it.
Although to discredit that, not
I thought it
even
was Asian
moments
dude at
later.
first, but
But not even moments later, we see Petey walking into the office. So kind of throws everything off, and he doesn't look like he was just covered in lube. So
It's the abilities of Luke Man. You don't question it.
I've never seen anybody cover
But to Lube Man's defense,
their lies.
Lube Man has a suit from head to toe. So if he covered himself in lube, he wouldn't be covered under there in lube. Lube Man's smart, like Petey. So
only his lips actually popped out. And did anybody notice that? It was just his lips popped out of the suit and he had these goggles on. I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? And whoever that is saw Angela drop the body. Whoever that is needs some information. I feel like if it is Petey, it's a good way for him to die as a superhero at some point, because we all predict, well, I predict that Petey's going to die. That's just kind of his fate. He's going to be that guy that unravels the whole entire mystery and dies for it. He's just that red shirt in this show. But as a red shirt and how Lindelof does red shirts, he's going to contribute a lot to it, especially the Petey articles, which I'll just go ahead and announce right now. They'll be coming out on my channel. I'll be reading them to you. And I think Dornish Wench and possibly Terrence, if I can make him do it, I will be recording some reactions to that and their thoughts on there, and we'll be putting out some fun stuff. So, yeah. No pressure, guys. Anyways.
none at all, but anything for Petey.
You think Lube Man can enter Dr. Manhattan and save the world at the end?
Oh my god. What a plot twist.
All I know is I'm gonna pray for Petey.
like the gerbil in South Park.
I
Oh,
heard something
it's
about
Lemmy Winks. Lemmy Winks
yeah,
too.
Lemmy Winks joke. We talked about that like a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it was on this channel, on this exact talking about Watchmen or not, but I was talking anyway.
Luby Winks.
But I don't know how much fan besides the PD tinfoil. What do you think? Okay, if it is PD, what do you think he's gonna do, fandom? What do you think Lube Man can contribute in any type of physical altercation? At some point, I could see him lubing himself up, and you can't really tackle him or get him in a jujitsu move. I'll tell you that much.
Like the only way I could see him is just like helping out Lori. That's why he's like just going after like Angela and seeing like what she's doing, just like help her out. Because he already has this fascination about her. He is a fanboy.
The Lube Man is on the case.
I thought he was just walking down the road, and he just happened to see her toss the body over the side. They just called eyes like two deer in the headlights.
Like, what made him stand in plain sight? Why would you not peep around a corner or something?
He
wanted
thought
to
he
show
was
off
gonna
them
blend in with the
skills.
bridge.
Discount Silver Surfer.
No, he thought he was like Drax. If you just stand there,
He's the brown
eventually
surfer.
no one will see him.
Oh.
His movements were very perceptible.
Discount Silver Surfer.
Oh god, so good. So good.
But on that note, I do have to go. Thank you for having me, Johnny. And
Thank
meeting
you.
you for the first time, Dornish Wench's son. I see you, the name is, what is it? Tech West?
Yep,
Terrence.
that's me.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
pleasure, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Nice. Later, little brother.
Take care, everyone.
See you Monday, fun
Hi,
day.
Fandom D Funko.
His forehead accidentally hung up the phone, so we'll have to keep going. Your grandfather wants to know if you have the pills. Okay, so Angela, Lori, they go on their way to the, what do you know, True Industries and go see all of that. We kind of talked about that a little bit, but they talk some more about the pills. What do y'all think these pills do? Because the big secret isn't that he's my grandfather, I know who he is. What is this big secret? What's going on with these pills? John, I saw you unmute. You got something, don't you?
I like the motif of the pills, but I can't get past the fact that it totally looks like the multivitamin supplement that I take every morning.
Yeah, it's just for the prostate.
Like it's like I was talking about at the beginning of this. I think they're doing this as a proper mystery, and I really like that. Like, because you don't know what's going on. You can try and piece it together. You can try and put it together in your head. You can try and come up with your own theories or whatnot. But I like that it's being put out as a mystery. The pills, honestly, I think. I mean, I have so many theories, but they're so tinfoily, even I won't.
Well, they're not blue, so we can rule out boner pills. I know Terrence had an idea.
Grow a baby pills. That's my idea. They look like fish oil pills, so I feel John on that because they do look like large fish oil pills. But I think they're grow a baby pills. Maybe even Angela grow baby. Grow an Angela
baby.
pill. Yeah, because
Hashtag grow baby pills in the chat. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Just add water and you can grow yourself, a little fetus, give it to Adrian. He grows you a whole person. That was my thing. I feel like there's something maybe even just symbolic about the pills. Maybe there's not like the pill bottle's just a ruse. There's something more to the pill bottle because the show has a clever way of telling you that sometimes objects, have more to them than what you see from the badge we see with the blood getting dripped on it, so like opening the shell, to even I was checking the Pedia, and they have a display, basically a breakdown of Laurie's Dr. Manhattan toy, and inside of it there's a whole bunch of things that don't make sense, including an electromagnet, which
Oh, that thing's a weapon somehow.
yeah, that's a weapon. There's no way, but I was thinking like
dual purpose.
yeah, it looked like it had a compartment inside of it too. So there's it's a very interesting, looking device. But there's more to the objects in the show than just what they let on. So maybe these pills are a ruse.
Well, what if Will was Judd's cocaine dealer? And that's the big conspiracy, that Will Reeves is just the biggest cocaine. No, that would be so fucked
It's
up.
about drugs.
Go ahead, Jordan.
This is all a drug bust. What?
It's all connected.
It's all just a giant drug bust.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug. I think the pills are some kind of truth serum thing. Because they were talking about, like, Lady True tells Will, like, that's passive aggressive, like, he's like, oh, she likes to experience things for herself. Like, he's trying to, like, punk out of telling her. And then he goes, well, I mean, would the way you do it be better? Like, I think they were going back and forth about it. I think those pills have some kind of mental effect where they just kind of reveal things. Maybe like Dumbledore's fountain. I don't know. I'm going back to Harry Potter. I don't know. I don't know. I was trying to figure out the pills. I rewatched that scene so many times and I can't really figure it out.
What if they're meant to make her stronger?
Or remember something, possibly. I don't know. Go a little. Let me hear more, AK.
Yeah, it's almost like that drug that they're making in The Boys. When they take that, they gain like a lot of superhero strength, and
Compound
it enhances
B?
everything they can do. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll work similar, and it probably will also have the effect of unlocking memories that were blocked, probably. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of evidence for the theory, but it's a thought.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. And also, even the memory thing with the family tree, it's like she's trying to find something out that she doesn't remember, she doesn't know. But he seems to know her very, very well. And has he just been spying on her whole life? Or is it more than that? Does she know him like True knows her daughter, which we're pretty sure, okay, I would just call it now, Lady True's daughter is a clone. But Lady True herself does say, well, it's different with y'all too. So I think there's a little more to this. Maybe even if he is Hooded Justice, that would mean... Could that mean none of the other Hooded Justice never went to Vietnam, right?
I don't think so.
No, wasn't he dead by then?
He
was dead by then.
Supposedly dead by then. I'm just making sure. I'm trying to connect somehow Will to Vietnam, and you can't, right? Except for through his... Was it his father that went in World War I to Germany? Was that Will's father?
Yes. His father, yeah.
Okay. So we're assuming that his son went to war in Vietnam and stayed there, possibly. I mean, there's something going on with Angela's birth that we don't know about. And I saw you there, Terrence.
Oh yeah, he does say that in 3 days she's gonna find out what I've done and she's gonna hate me for it. So perhaps this is the things that he did do in Vietnam. Maybe this is where Angela comes from, and once she finds out the things that he's done, it kind of makes me think also of like the comedian what he did over in Vietnam, the horrible things he did over there,
I
and
think he did something to Lady Truth's family.
yeah, and even there is kind of a nod to Vietnam and beyond when she starts talking about that memory of walking very far, and her feet still hurt. Mom recalls in Vietnam when Dr. Manhattan decides to go over there and win the war by blowing everything up, and all these Vietnamese that had to get moved out. And I think of the re-education camps from after the Vietnam War was over. So
Oh, didn't the comedian in the comic books, didn't at some point he have a flamethrower when they were in Vietnam? I
he
think during like a
definitely had a
montage.
flamethrower. There was a video.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a
Yeah,
village on
definitely.
fire.
They were burning everything.
Yeah,
So
the whole
they were going
Vietnam thing.
Targaryen.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dornish. I apologize. I didn't
No,
mean to
no, it's
interrupt
cool.
you.
It's cool. I just
No, just the Vietnam thing. It reminded me of I can't remember the young lady's name, but the footage that you will see quite often when you watch Vietnam War footage of the young lady who, like, her clothes are burned to her, and she's walking down the road, like, and this is actual like real world footage. Um, like the little girl who survived the napalm attack, and that was when Lady True brings up just like her whole background and everything. That was my immediate jump of logic. Uh, does anybody know what I'm talking about here?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, keep
Yeah.
going though, man. You got me intrigued.
It like that was my immediate jump of logic. It's like, and this is tinfoil, but like anything Alan Moore does, like makes you tinfoil, uh, because it's Alan fucking Moore. But it immediately made me jump to that thought, like when she's talking about my feet hurt so much, and I just keep walking, like that is maybe a cognitive memory of that. I This is gonna get pretty dark if I keep talking,
Well, I mean,
but
yeah, even her feet hurt after she's awakened, like in her memory, like she's actually living that. That goes back to me saying that Adrian Veidt is in that statue and living through this crazy memory. And the chat disconnected for a second. Hold on. Sorry, guys, I'm back. Adrian Veidt is living the same kind of clue to the physicality of something that's going on with this dream sequence. Maybe she's on an IV. Maybe that has something to do, goes back with the pills. I'm sure everything's connected somehow. But what if you could live another life through your dreams and you could control that? How awesome and awful could that be? That could be used for a few different things. And Adrian Veidt not having much else in the world, basically his name going to shit. His stocks went down with all the Manhattan projects that went up because Manhattan's dick has radiation apparently. And he sold out to Lady True. Maybe there was some kind of offer to go into this dreamland, this dream type state. Maybe he'll live longer and wait until he can bide his time. Everybody thinks he's dead as well. So this goes back to me thinking he could be trapped in the statue, and what we see is a dream state. And my evidence is Lady True's daughter and the physicality that happened after a dream state. I'd like to see them delve into this more, and I think they will. I think you'll see some physical things happen to people through dreams maybe when they wake up. I don't know. That's a technology people are looking into now. It's a type of VR. What if you could control your dreams, livid dreams, and
Very
you could stay in there?
very Matrix. Just like
Yeah.
this whole episode kept taking me to the Matrix, and I just kept trying to find clues as to how it would work in a similar fashion. But so what you're saying is possible. That tinfoil is on the table.
Tinfoil.
Yeah, and I love the whole, you know, Adrian thing where, he's kind of, his memory's kind of fading, because it's ironic, because, it started with Rorschach. Rorschach's memory faded and turned into something completely different than what it was supposed to be. So he's like the far right's martyr. Like, after he fades, his memory is used for something else, and I feel like Adrian, he's starting to turn in that too, because this is the far left's, this is what Lady True's like martyr. Basically, she says she's so inspired by him, but we all know, she's probably hiding him somewhere. But this is like his memory's fading, just like Rorschach's. He's turning into something different, just like Rorschach. He is kind of symbolically on a parallel path with Rorschach. They're right next to each other.
Yeah, it's confusing with Adrian too. I think he feels like he knows something's bound to happen, or he has to wait for an agreed upon amount of time. This goes back to the person watching him or keeping him in check, or the game warden. Uh, is it possibly even Lady True? Like we've said, that it could be. Maybe she goes into the dream state. I'm just going back into my theory, but whatever. I'm being biased right now. Sorry.
I've always thought, I've kept bringing up, is there time travel? Is there like interdimensional travel in here? And I just keep seeing these little breadcrumbs that that's what's happening here. They're playing with time. They're playing with interdimensional travel as well. That's why it rains squids. I'm pretty sure that's why it rains squids. And then when we were looking at all of the drawings on Adrian's floor, there was a particle separator there. There's things happening that they're traveling back and forth, or they're trying to make Dr. Moscow. I mean, they're playing with time and space.
Whatever he has medieval technology, if you look at it. He lives in a castle. Catapults. Everything's made from steel and rivets.
It's like steampunk technology.
Yeah. So it's... yeah, there's
it's
something
not
weird.
medieval. It's more like Jules Verne.
Well, I would say if you're trying to hold him down to a place, or you're trying to pinpoint him, you can't say Argentina for sure.
He said Argentina. That's all I was saying.
I know.
I think that's just a general cover, so that if people are theorizing in that universe, if he's alive, they're all saying he's in Argentina, and some people think he's dead.
A lot of scary people in the past century have gone to Argentina.
Exactly.
And the only reason I think he's in the statue, and I'm sorry I keep going back to this, but well, what would be the point of the statue if he's not? In the long run, what is the point of that statue? Why would they make such a big deal of it? And that's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know. I guess to show her connection to Adrian, as a breadcrumb. But I mean, your tinfoil is, like I said, your tinfoil's on the table. We're unwrapping.
It takes me a lot. I try to convince myself. It takes me a lot to convince myself of my tinfoil. Usually I've poked holes in it by now, but I don't know. I got a feeling on this one.
No, we hope there's a turkey in there when we unwrap it.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but we will talk about this and that. And my granny got beat with a baseball bat. It was awful. What were the pills? I don't know. I kind of agree with y'all. I kind of agree with AK. Maybe some kind of strength mental pill. They might put you in this dream state or something. It's got to be the catalyst. It's got to be why we see this 105 or 108-year-old man that's so strong. And that's kind of going to be her key. That's what he's letting it be, the slow key that we've talked about. Her figuring out.
Do you really think he can lift 200 pounds?
Yeah, I think he could do it. as some people pointed out as well, he had a pulley system there too that he could use in a sense with the tree, so he didn't necessarily have to lift it straight up by himself. So, like the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids with alien technology, so did Will Reeves with alien technology. Strung him up. No, there might have been some kind of help, but going back to them putting together a team of the old superheroes, I don't know if that's happening either. What do y'all think about that? What do you think Lady True's doing with these heroes? Do you think it's just Will? Do you think Lori is involved with her somehow? Or do you think Lori is her catalyst to get Dr. Manhattan involved? And this goes back to the comedian, which I'm just saying this, and this is my rough theory on it. Anybody?
Ooh.
Anybody?
Sheesh. So I think based upon Lori's reaction to True's compound, she didn't know her at all. This is her first chance meeting with her. Lori's pretty sharp. She picks up on a lot of things, but I think she has nothing to do with that. But she's gonna start uncovering things, and I think it's interesting that Beyond asked Petey to stay back because obviously Lady True has been watching them.
Oh, she knows he's Lube Man.
Yeah. She knows Lube Man is pretty slick, so she's just like, she knows not, you can't get a guy like that in there. He's gonna put two and two together quickly. So that's why they asked him to stay behind, because we know it's not ladies only. Clearly, Will Reeves hangs out in there. So,
How much do you want to bet that she actually understood what they were saying? And she's going to wait until the right moment to actually bring that up to Angela.
I felt that too. I'm like, there's no way she's not, smart enough to try and figure out what they're saying in that room. Like there's something more to that. I don't think Lori's just gonna let the fact that they started switching up, get past her, because she sees past a lot of what people put in front of her. She's not the type to just hide anything, and she always has one foot, ahead of everybody else. So I could see her definitely, understanding what was said right then and there.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking that as well. Like they're trying to be slick in front of one of the slickest women ever.
I was checking her face to see if she was, but I think she might have been just playing coy.
Oh, she got that poker face. And in the Wikipedia, we found out that she definitely was the comedian and stopped Timothy McVeigh, killed him, and got in trouble for it. She was just like her father. I think we were talking about this pre-stream, and I'd have to agree with you on that, Terrence, for sure. And I think I ultimately think that Lori and Sister Night, one of them's got to die by the end of this. Probably Lori. I think they're going to get pitted against one another because at some point, Angela's going to be on the side of her grandfather, in my opinion. She may hate him for what he's done, but she's going to feel bound by something. In my opinion. It could go the other way, too. But let me go back a little bit here. Dee Lee has a pretty good thought here. I wonder if the Adrian scenes are flashbacks and not where he is presently. What do y'all think? I'll give my opinion on that.
That's pretty plausible.
I think that's possible. Like with Adrian also, that statue that they talked about, I'm wondering if Lori also caught that Lady Shu said he is old, not he was old as in he was old when he died. Mm-hmm. She spoke of him in present tense, so
he was there. He's alive. In that statue. I'm just being an asshole now.
Leave the statue out of it. But it's, I want to see how Lori's going to process all of that, because I don't think she would let anything really get past her like that. She's just playing the part right now to see what information she can get.
No, I think she saw a butterfly, and she'll never, we'll never hear of it again. They're like D&D. They don't, they set a bunch of stuff up, and Lindelof will never finish it. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't kill me for that. John, I see you there, shaking that ass.
Do you think that Laura and Angela are being set up as kind of? I mean, it seems so obvious, but then I wonder, because it seems so obvious, like, are they being set up as antagonists to one another?
Oh yeah, that's what I think. In the end, they will be, and then through some poetic irony, Sister Night causes the end of the world by killing the only woman that Dr. Manhattan ever loved. And then Dr. Manhattan, being her husband, just gonna chuck her out. I don't know. I'm just going around, but I do think they're gonna be pitted against one another, because they're coming close together here, in a sense. But Lori is still digging, and she is her father's daughter. We've talked about this, and I don't. Anything short of Dr. Manhattan coming back into her life and feeling some sort of love, she's not gonna be there. I think it's gonna be too late. It's gonna be kind of a sad ending for Lori, to where she finally sees some of the error of her ways, before she goes and causes the end of humanity. Possibly, I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know. Why can't a TV show just end with every damn body dying? Not a black screen. Just just everybody just getting eviscerated, and then we're really mad about it.
And then the other question I have to ask, and this is my other piece of tinfoil for this week: does anybody out there think that there's a possibility that William is actually Dr. Manhattan?
William,
I
the
don't think
husband.
so. No, isn't William Grandpa?
Oh, Grandpa Will.
Yeah.
Will Reeves. Oh, he said he was. No.
He said he could be.
Yeah, but I don't think he gives a shit about anybody that much. Will gives a shit about his daughter. And Dr. Manhattan, he's just weird. I don't know. Maybe he could learn how to be a person. But I would say more of Angela's husband, because he fits the social profile in a certain type of way. Because Dr. Manhattan's very technical about everything. And I think Peter Griffin brought that up, and we all kind of brought it up as well, about the Stardust comment. Telling your kids you're nothing. But, what you think, Terrence?
I think what would probably be the biggest thing to debunk the whole Will situation would be that I think Angela has a valid point in saying that he can't pretend to be like us. Like, John cannot pretend to be human, because we've seen John in the comics, and we see how he acts and how he carries himself, and he's no longer human. He's beyond that. You see how he acts, and you know for a fact he can't be himself anymore. He doesn't understand humanity, and in the words of Lori, he doesn't care about humanity anymore. Like, there's no care in his mind for it. So I don't think he would be able to, portray himself as this witty old man, from Tulsa. It just, yeah, with all this history behind him, it just, Will's too complex, and he's too human for, I think, Dr. Manhattan to be able to portray.
How dare you sound smart right there, okay?
You're coming in here making sense and shit. You keep your logic out of it, sir.
I mean, I don't know what's going on here. I'm just tired of having, look, I gotta get more dumb people on here, okay? I gotta look good. What's going on? No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome. No, I couldn't have said it better myself, no doubt, for real. And, maybe he has evolved, but I think it's possible he's went a little crazier. And who knows, he could be sitting there like a stalker and just listening to Lori's messages she's been sending him over and over and over, and he's dwelling on it, thinking about, well, maybe it's just worse if I do it, if I talk to her. He knows it'll be worse because he can see the future before it happens, but he still reacts presently to what happens in the future. But he already knows the outcome, just like when Lori told him she was sleeping with Dan or Night Owl. He still reacted like he didn't know, but he already knew. It's so crazy. Dr. Manhattan's just an enigma, but I definitely have to agree with what Terrence said just there. That was it's really, really well put and I'll just give you that compliment in a roundabout way, okay?
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Now, I want to talk about something, John and AK. This is when they're in Angela's house and we're getting back to her husband. He's reading this book. I think it's called Things Fall Apart, and the lead character hangs herself. Now we do have Judd hanging himself. Do you think this is any type of foreshadowing for anything? It was something just thrown out there, but seemed something that caught my eye there. And anything you got to say about the interaction with her husband here? I know we kind of talked about it already, but I didn't bring that part up. Okay.
I that their conversations, I really dig them as a couple. I don't know, that scene. There's not too much I can say about it because he was very cut and dry about how he felt. He put all his cards on the table for the whole thing, basically. And it's interesting the way she handles it. Like, they're both calm and collected when they speak, but they can read each other's, cues. Like, she knows, okay, yeah, this thing happened. He's not exactly happy with it. And it still seems like she's keeping some type of secret from him, though. And she knows that he hates lying. So it seems like she's also treading lightly.
Another thing Dr. Manhattan never did, right, was lie. It's weird.
I see the parallels for him. I think it's possible he is the Doc. I could be wrong, but the signs are there to be read.
Oh, hey guys. I had my call dropped off of my computer, but I have to abruptly go. Yeah. So I'm so sorry.
It's our last roundup.
It's our last roundup. But for now, for tonight. But I had to. My whole thing shut down, and yeah. So I'm like, man.
Well, we're at the end I think we're at the last pretty much.
Yeah, we're at the end right now.
We're right here.
Okay.
We're just pretty much making the parallels again with Angela's husband, and there's this book, Things Fall Apart, that he was reading, and the lead character hangs herself. I don't know if this is, it could be like a euphemism, I think. I think that Angela, through her actions, is going to hang herself metaphorically, right? That's kind of what I'm getting a feel for it. What do y'all think? And y'all can give y'all's final thoughts, if you're there.
That's actually a good way to put it. I think she's gonna have some type of revelation like in her head, and it might screw with her, and through her actions a whole lot of fuck shit's gonna happen, and she's not gonna know how to withdraw from that trauma that she's gonna go through.
Tim, Eve, Angela, I'm trying to pick a fight. Husband, I noticed. I swear Dr. Manhattan said that in the original graphic novels at some point.
I might have to go and check that out.
I know, right? That sounds so familiar.
Huh. He does have this thing for strong women, so could be.
True enough.
And they don't have kids of their own.
I think we figured out the whole show tonight because we're all so smart.
I'm really gonna go back and look for that though.
Me too.
I'm trying to pick a fight. Okay, I'm gonna go back and look for that.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely watch this episode again. Because I feel like there are things I missed. One thing I didn't miss that I wanted to touch on at some point in this in this live stream.
Yeah, this will be our final roundup. Push it out there for us, John.
The soundtrack that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross put together is fucking sick. I don't think there's another term for it. The soundtrack to this show so far, I think is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big Trent fan, and I just absolutely adore the soundtrack he's created for this. It's so unique to the show. Even just watching The Social Network and the way he did that soundtrack, he's brilliant at it.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with his work, but he's working with somebody named Atticus Ross, who is apparently helping put the whole soundtrack together. And it's a soundtrack; it's not a score. Like there is some scoring in this, but more than anything, it's the soundtrack, and where certain tracks are dropped at certain spots in certain places, and I think it works really well.
No, I was saying who Dornish Wench. Who. You can go on the whole who's on first joke. Like, who's in a cage? Night Owl. When is not when, who? Anyways.
His name is who?
AK. Give us some good final juicy thoughts on this episode. And what do you think about it?
I thought this was a good episode. You know, there were some parts that were slightly filler, but it was filler with a purpose. So I appreciated that. And the amount of tinfoil that this episode gave us is worth, I'd say, a good 8.25 on the scale. 8.25 out of 10 clones.
Oh my gosh,
And I
I'm
can't
not
wait
rating
for
it.
more.
Them damn clones. What can't you wait for more? I'm sorry, I cut you off like an a-hole.
No, I just can't wait to see more. I
Oh.
don't think Lori and Angela are going to be enemies per se. I think because of their back and forth so far that we've seen, I think something is going to happen, and when it does, that's when they'll see they have to work together. But on top of that, things always change. Some other thing could happen, and that's what will pull them apart. I don't know. I think either way it goes, I'm going to enjoy watching what happens between the two of them because I really like their dynamic.
Yeah, I predicted a massive cat fight over Dr. Manhattan. Just kidding. I agree. It's hard for me with them because they can go both ways with that storyline with those two characters, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Leaves a lot up in the air. You get a lot of answers. Tim Eve, loads of egg references and Easter eggs throughout this series, which is very fun to do. And you got your extracurricular material that you get to get interactive with, so to speak. So go check out the PWPD articles. We'll be covering those as well. I have to say, all of the eggs makes me think of that some type of egg that landed in the beginning of the episode. Perhaps with a Phillips and a Crookshanks in it. Who the hell knows? We'll find out. I don't know. Does anybody want to rank it? I don't want to rank it. I don't know why AK put all that pressure on me. You don't. Put
They've
that
all
on me,
been
Ricky
8s
Bobby.
for me. All the episodes have been straight 8s.
Hell yeah.
But crazy 8s.
Crazy 8s. Also the way that. Oh, go ahead, AK.
I was just complimenting the pun.
Yeah, I mean, and the way they go as well. I think these are episodes that may be even better on the rewatch or looking back once we have a culmination of the story itself. John, I mean, you can rank it if you want. You don't have to.
I'll go ahead and I will give this 8.5 capricious clone catapults.
See, man, you're taking my onomatopoeias, and I don't like you, piece of shit. No. Thanks, John. That's really good. That's really good. Tell me what y'all give it in the chat. And Dee Lee can agree with an 8. Tim Eve gives it a 7 out of 10. He gives it 7 Eves. But I really thank y'all for joining me. This has been a fucking fantastic one, and we'll be on time next week on Monday. We'll have some fun stuff coming out as well with the PD articles, and that'll be awesome. Let me thank my patrons, and the name change, House of the Conqueror. I may be getting some better channel art soon, so be on the lookout for that. Join my crazy crew if you want some extras, behind the scenes, all kinds of stuff, Fire and Blood Book Club, blah 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 blah. There's stuff there on my Patreon. You'll have fun, loads of extra material. It's a good time. Amy True, Anime Lover Nicole, Bobby Catalano, Catherine Cronin, Catherine Harding, Clarissa Thompson, Dark Mother, John St. Baptiste, don't know who the fuck that is, Casey of House Lorebridge, Katrin C from My Point of View, Nancy T, Santivia Major, Steve York, and the podcastthat.com, that family of podcasts. Yeah, best episode yet, Steve York. I bet you just loved it, you bastard. I want to thank y'all again and again and again. This is, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun to be here with you guys, and I hope y'all enjoyed it out there. This has been one of those Thursdays, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and before we go, I'm gonna give a big fuck you to whoever came through and hit the dislike. We appreciate the view.
Oh man, did you see them one comments we had to erase? Anyways, we'll talk about them off there. Y'all can hear us.
I'm still waiting for my first dislike. Can somebody
go dislike John's videos, please?
Been on one of my videos. Like, can somebody
dislike.
just drop my first dislike so my chair gets popped, please?
You guys are killing me. Alright, my friends. We'll see you on the next.
Bye.
Basta.
Let me see if I can cut this son of a bitch off.